Yeah, it's like the world got silent. I was just laughing with people. No matter who you are, to them, this is a few people have mentioned this. They go, the only way in the world is to put other people's egos at the center of your plans. And it is true. You'll become ridiculously attractive to most people if you're willing to say, I believe in you. But it's interesting. Like, let's talk about the history of it, right? Like, let's talk about the actual history of the end of circumcision and the knowledge that the Bible is a hoax. Because that is a very long age of misinformation. And it was brought about by the changes in satellites and the changes in the observations we can make from high in orbit. We gained the ability to know more. We've ever known before. Smoking, it's been hard earned for humanity. The only people who made it could smoke. The other ones, it killed them. It clogged lungs and they died. So the people who can do it have a trick to them. They just can do it. So it's sad and ironic. Circumcision's one of those things, right? Because this is medicinal. I see. Honestly, what we know about statistics is fine. Being genitally mutilated by a death cult. It's a cult. The leader's special. You have to go to extreme lengths to please the leader. The author wrote God to be wholly evil. The guy is mean, rude, drowning people, circumcising babies. Things kick off and other people get killed. It's spicy, but the author's putting God versus the world. It's just basically storytelling. The reason we know it's storytelling is there's no conclusive proof that there was a great flood. And that's because of principles like there's never been an end of every civilization except for the ones that were like the Noah Ark. It just doesn't look like it happened. Giving it more explanation is too far, because if the Noah's Ark story is definitely untrue, if there definitely was never a great flood here, right? It's tree ring theory, right? Certain geological activities of certain markers and their similarities in similar places, right? Well, Earth is so diverse, there's very few similar places. The thing is diverse. Yeah, there's a lot going on. You know how many varieties of crystals there are? There are many. I think we can infer things about people by what we know about crystals and gems. Because crystals and gems are just exquisite, right? What a treat. They're not hoaxes, there's real treasure in the earth. It just grew there, through ever's celestial phenomenon. So anyway, fossils changed a lot because they're basically irrefutable evidence. The only thing I can think against a fossil would be an artist with the ability to create so well that they hewed the thing out of their imagination, right? That's the only thing I could think of, and even then, that's sketchy because they're seeing line cuts, right? Where someone goes tink tink, and then there's a fossil. It's never been opened before, but there it is. And so, barring it being a deliberate hoax, right? The truth is science is unreal. It's a hoax created by Satanists to take God away from Earth. That would be funny. Not really, but yeah. Is this a society video? Yeah, I mean, the idea is that circumcision comes from a ballsy recommendation from God in the middle of the Bible, and we've had 2,000 years of run up. The history of Earth. I mean, this is the historical aspect of it, right? Is that, well, am I here for the history? Oh, I want to talk about the history because history is how my dad talked to me, right? That's how my dad related, is he would tell me stories. And stories are just stories. There's a basic fallacy with any story is anytime you say this happened to this day, there was also to a sunrise, right? There's another way you could look at that whole day, right? And I've noticed that people tend to run away with the main theme, and they go The irony of that, or I guess especially I feel that way because being a mentalist and having a background in pickup, is that in pickup what you're doing is you're starting new social situations, right? You're not looking, people who look for the world for what should be never have anything. The smart people invent them. And so that's kind of what, like, the Bible is, right? The Bible's the basic fallacy that if you fall into letting the world tell you what is, your baby and you are going to lose a piece of your dick. It's such a huge cost, and it's going to manipulate you because the shock is if the Bible is not such a beautiful hill. I love this. I'm going to turn this around. I don't mind living here. This is my whole house. This is my whole car. Maybe if I was like, yeah, I'm like, basically, I'm not homeless because I live in here, and I've lived in here in like the promenades of LA. Like people don't stop me. I'm cool. I'm really cool. I do notice that I'm so cool that it's especially guys who are turfing. Like it is like kind of this thing like being a guy. You're gonna run into guys who are turfing basically all the time. They're always going to come up on you and they're always going to try to take you down and bring you up. You are never good enough for them. They're never going to boost you up because they know what it means. It means you get their girl. Or at least that's the sexually dissatisfied version of it. So that's what I detect in the Bible is like looking at the lives of serial killers and how people who were serial killers acted. They are, H.H. Holmes is post Christ. So he could have learned from the master, the Bible, right? But it is how it feels. And circumcision has never been a magical moment, not ever. It's been a horrendous trauma from the beginning. And it's absolutely horrendous that, for me, it's a little weird because as I'm walking around going, what's going on? No one is saying you've been genitally mutilated, you've been circumcised. By the way, I've met a woman who is genitally mutilated. Grandmas and family members can think to cut the genitalia off young girls as a way to suppress their sexuality because they're afraid of what it could do. It's don't have a baby no matter what. Don't have a baby like it's a poison. Like never have a baby. I need to stop you from doing that. It's whoa. And so the sexual attackedness of others, as people have pointed out, it's people aren't always comfortable with other people existing. There's a lot of territorial people. There's a lot of people who cannot stand someone having something if they don't. They are on attack, they hate it, they want it. Which, think about the way nature works, right? This is where evolution is so key, is that only what survives thrives. And so nature doesn't really care if it's good or bad. That's why, like, in a weird way, the circumcising of men is in alignment with the behavior of chimpanzees. Is chimpanzees are terrifying. They are terrifying creatures. They can bite, they can tear. I've never met any. I think I'd be able to tough one up and be cooler than it thinks it is. Uh, yeah, I can. In a pinch, whenever I'm alone or trying to show off, it doesn't work. But when it's like in a pinch and I need it, it works. But anyway, the whole idea of the Bible is it's to force a being to pray, which comes from this idea of this, like, kind of this reincarnation theory that people are stuck in Maya unless there's something going on. Well, the thing is that the new paleontology, the structures of this is gonna be a good video. I'm really liking it. I'm not a paleontologist. I don't work in fossils, but what I do know is that the way we're dating things now is that we have definite backward and forward beginning end time zones of the universe. Now, this might be an overassumption because there has been a very strong force to counter Christianity, namely that it's a genital mutilation cult. So it is a significant problem that if it doesn't look like the Jews left Egypt, and it doesn't look like it's like if the Bible's a hoax, when was it hoaxed? And I think what it was, I think the person who hoaxed it was like a major fan of King David. I think he wrote King David, or he was King David. And there's just things he says where King David is like doing it himself. He was in a universe where he had to self-start. His whole culture had collapsed. His whole people were done. And they were like stammering looking for a leader. And this guy had to do it. But so I can forgive him for the world he was in. You know, there was a time, first and foremost with wars, remember that most people are boasters, and most people are braggers, and most people are storytellers before anything else. And so, like, where humans go, like, anytime they go, the force was 200,000, the force was probably 2,000. You know, that's how humans are. That's just how they are. I remember being in fourth grade, and it's like it came up. It's like, how big's your dick? Every boy goes like this. He's like, it's over his forehead. It's like, okay, guys, that's just a human nature thing. You remember, like, we are. I like not. I don't. I've had a period in my life where I've been like, humans are divine, but I don't believe in the divinity of humanity because we're like parrots and storytellers, right? Have you ever chosen wrong? Like, you ever sit around all day thinking you're psychic and then guess a random number and it's completely off and you're like, well, what did I know? You know? So anyway, that's the way it is with the Bible. The Bible is doing massive worldwide genital mutilation on a trust me bro situation that doesn't look like it's true. So we need to stop it fast. And I can say as a survivor of it that it hurts. It hurts, it's uncomfortable, it's ruined my life. It's driven, they take a piece of your dick, then tell you no one's gonna like you, everyone hates you, expect to fail, God's gonna torture you, this is what happened to his only son and you're all going to hell. It was made by a sociopath. It was made by a serial killer. God never wrote the Bible. God did not write the Bible definitively because it doesn't give true predictions. The lack of evidence is not science stonewalling. The lack of evidence is science discovering there's no evidence for it. Going, aha, aha, the person who said the doom cult of baby mutilators was wrong. We're mammals and we evolved because we have a fossil record. Our new truths are based on how deep we dug and how we categorized information. So that's why we're moving forward. Yeah, evolution works because survival and death matter, but so does will. And so I've also seen that I think there is a magic, but let's cancel all magical thinking for now because we know no foreskin's grown back. I've never healed the sight of someone on touch. I've tried, but that power didn't visit me when I asked. So I don't know what, you know. Science has done what miracles said they should. And the people who've seen miracles have always just seen one. It's never right when you're there, right? Anyway, good luck. I pray that all babies, boy and girl, have safe bodies their whole lives and they only have what they want to happen to them happen to them. That's what I know. No more promises from death cults that it's all going to go wrong and people will hate you and it'll get worse. Because that's what you get what you say is you think will happen. And if you say God said that, it's definitely happening. So we've been duped by a God told me, and it's ruined our lives. And we have to stop it. That's the truth. We have to stop the cult of Christianity from imposing its worldview because it doesn't give accurate enough predictions to care, and the things it says are hurtful, dangerous, and sadistic. This is serial killer stuff. Don't study theology, study serial killers. You want to understand the Bible? Not theology, serial killers. Look up what serial killers say and do. You'll have your biblical author, I guarantee it.